2 days in a row. Let's go. Back on the schedule here and still working on a really amazing set. And I don't know if I'll ever get to a point where I actually do a live stream where I go, oh, this set's horrible, and then keep building it. So this set is just so much fun. 75314, the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, 969 pieces. And it is part of a Star Wars theme, but maybe one, well, to younger Star Wars fans, probably pretty well known. But the Bad Batch Shuttle, I didn't know anything about this, haven't seen much of it out for Lego anyways, outside of this set. Retired in 2022, but it is very cool and glad to be building it, glad to be sharing it with you on the live stream. And right as I finished yesterday's live stream, one of these wings, the second wing, I had put in the wrong spot, and John Powell pointed it out, and right when I went off the air, I realized it. So now they're flush, now they're square, now they're in the right spot. So thanks, John Powell, for pointing that out. Didn't even realize it, and then looked at him like, oh yeah, that's off. So fix that. So hey, John Powell, he's here. Good job. Thanks for pointing that out. Welcome, Rat Studio. Psh. Hello, Alexandria. Psh. Hello, John Powell. Psh. Tommy Bricks. Psh. Very cool. Thanks, guys, for all being here and saying hello. And it's always actually a really good feeling to have three awesome moderators here right away with me. That's always cool. And then of course we get Rats here, Rat Studio, to start out the live stream with the first comment. Hello, I get you. Hello, you guys, and thank you for being here. And almost done. We're on bag 6, so 2 bags left. 751314. And actually, before I get to bag 6, I did not finish the minifig. The last, I think, yeah. Actually, 2 minifigs. The last 2 minifigs for this set. So let me get these 2 to put together. This would be Wrecker and Echo. I think Wrecker and Echo, but everything is so close in color. I want to get the right torso pieces. Wrecker, to me, like I said, he kind of looks like the Iron Man 1 armor. I know we have an Iron Man 1 minifig somewhere, and who knows if I can find it anytime soon. Should compare these two. Wrecker has kind of that similar look. I don't know, maybe his armor isn't as substantial, or maybe it kind of looks like or not looks like, but it kind of has this similar Batman from the Lego Movie 2, this huge kind of football looking shoulder pad armor. So there's Wrecker without helmet. But yeah, he's got these, look at this, almost like pirate skull and crossbone look on his shoulder armor here, like almost like a football shoulder pads. And yeah, there's Wrecker. And then his helmet, maybe from the picture, it looks like Iron Man 1, but now that I put the helmet on, that definitely is not an Iron Man 1 face. Yeah, so Wrecker, what is that, it's almost like a stormtrooper face, but then also kind of like, I don't know, a walrus face. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, there's one minifig, that's Wrecker. Just glad you caught my post at the end, says John Powell. Yes, I did, thank you. John Powell, I fixed the wing and everything is back on track, literally, especially with those Technic pins. Hello, Chris Vick. Psh, Lego Star Wars Dad. Oh, I don't know if I can claim all those titles. Star Wars Dad, that would mean I would be a pro at knowing Star Wars anything, Chris Vick. But you know what? I know enough to not be dangerous, but know enough to appreciate the theme. So we got Wrecker and Echo. And Echo also has a different face. So if these guys were clones, they definitely don't have that idea, or if they're mutant clones, they definitely don't have that idea that they all came with the same kind of DNA phenotype. Like they don't all look like Jango Fett, basically. So I don't know how I thought when they were portrayed in the animated series, they all have obviously the same voice, same like facial features, skin tone and all that. But you know, the only thing that kind of distinguished them was like they were bald or different hairstyles basically, or I don't know, maybe an eye patch or something. Their armor definitely is different from one another. So there's Wrecker. Now this guy looks the closest to like what you'd say is a stormtrooper look with that helmet, but obviously a dark gray color. So again, very cool minifigures. These are the two that we get with this one. Of course, if you have this set, you're like, yep, know about it already. But then they do have that red center, I don't know, split piece in their torso, like an under or designed to their uniform, maybe. But yeah, there's some connective parts too. It's not like they're completely mutant there. So Alexandria says, oh no, did the stream freeze? But it sounds like it's back. Brick Therapy, I should be getting my Venator ship next week. Tommy Bricks. That's exciting, Tommy. Now, I know I asked it before, and I don't remember if I asked it in this way, but Tommy, when you say the Venator, is it the UCS Venator, or is it the new MIDI scale one? Either one would be actually pretty cool. I think both builds will be definitely pretty cool in their own right, but you know, the UCS one, which I don't know if that's is that one gonna retire too this year? Then that one might be obviously the more impressive one, of course, for it's a UCS set and all that. But yeah, so Tommy says, yeah, he should be getting it. So clarify, Tommy, which one, the UCS one? I'm assuming Venator, you mean the UCS one. So yeah, I agree. Luke, I am your Lego father, says Chris Vick. It is the UCS set. Let's go. John Powell says, yeah, that's the bad part. It was a batch of clones that mutated a little, so they all were unique. Ah, okay. So even their faces and everything. I guess there's some, I don't know. I'd have to watch the episodes. I think I only caught part of one back when it was being aired. And yeah, I don't remember. I do not recall what they look like 100%. And oh, I didn't put on two last plates here. Like this is definitely not an extra piece. So I see, I was all excited about connecting the wing after I got the turbines on there. But yeah, there's some more to this build here. And let's see, I know there's another one by, let's see, where does it go? Where am I missing it? Ah, okay. There we go. There's just everything. Now the wing is done. Okay, there you go. Evened out and everything. So in terms of Lego news, so Tommy's getting the UCS set. That's exciting. And looks like Amazon's put on a couple sales for Lego. Let me just put this aside here and open bag 6. I saw posted that this is actually a fun set if people do want to collect Lego. It's the yellow Lego truck way over here in the middle, kind of buried in my shanty town of Lego sets, my shanty town of Lego sets. But yeah, the yellow Lego truck's on sale. I think for the price I got it at Costco eventually was 34 or some 35% off, some weird number like that. But that yellow Lego truck, unless it's already been bought up, you know, Lego sometimes, whatever the sets are, that was a really popular set when it came out a couple of years ago, or during the summer, or a year and a half ago, summer 2024. But yeah, so basically about $65. So it's $100 or $99 on the Lego website. So there are some sales out there. I think about them like that's a pretty cool price, and I'm glad I got it for that sale price also through Costco. Probably a year later, or I don't know. I want to say a year later, but I've been looking for that set. It was I like that yellow Lego truck. It's just one of those Lego theme sets that, you know, if you're building up a Lego city, it's a fun item to have. Kind of like those Lego store builds like the ones right here, like Lego themed, you know, a miniature version build of a Lego store and all that. So, you know, that's a set worth thinking about, especially if you like Lego theme builds. And to get a $100 set for 35% off is pretty good. Of course, everything's just expensive these days, so I could say $65, but that's still a lot of money. Tanner says, yo, I got something. Oh, Tanner's got something that made him mad. Oh, okay. Chris Vick says, let's see, if I work at Lego, it's amazing. They can keep up with so many pieces and bag it and put it on the box or in the box and ship it. Want to see how it's made. I would imagine you could, or you don't need to imagine actually, you could, there's quite a lot of YouTube short videos, news stories, like well done productions of, you know, recent made documentaries or within the last 10 years or so of the Lego group and how they make Legos in general. It's pretty much like most factories. It's all automated and things are made mass produced, and the Legos are molded and everything. So it's still pretty cool to see how it's done. But yeah, I've seen a couple documentaries on it. If that's what you're referring to, Chris Vick, I think you could actually find a couple, like Business Insider, and then I think BBC production did one on Lego, one I've referred to a couple times. I think it's still on YouTube, but it was basically the process of someone getting hired to become a Lego designer. And I think it's, I'm trying to think, he's made some pretty well-known sets. He made the set I like a lot, which is the Lego Apocalypseburg set for the Lego Movie 2. But anyway, it was a documentary on him getting through on the hiring process, a British guy. And yeah, they also in that documentary, they follow some like grown-up collectors, and they also talk about the quality control and how Lego's made, and they show a little bit of that process. So you should be able to find some info on that. Something went out, says Tanner, and he's got, oh, the internet not working. Hey, but you're here at the live stream, so that's cool to see. So welcome, Tanner. Let's see if you can be chill today. Chris Vick says they can bring back Barney now in the store. Local collector or local hunter is back. I knew I saw your name. I was going to say hello. Local hunter says hello. I'm back. Welcome back, local hunter. Your builds are so awesome. Bye. Thank you, man. Well, good to see you, and hope you return again. Hope you return again. All right, let me see. Building, let's see, what would this be? I was gonna say an engine piece, but I don't think it's that. But an interior part to the Lego shuttle now. And see if we can figure out, might need my flashlight. More gray and black pieces. When they blend together, it's hard to find. So that yellow Lego truck is definitely a set I like having. It's something worth adding to your collection. So if you are like, I don't want to buy a really expensive set, but maybe a mid-range set, what theme? That yellow truck is pretty sweet. It's a very fun build. It's an easy build, but it's got a lot of pieces to it. And it seems like, in my opinion, just a really fun set to have in your collection in general. I think they've done a couple in the past, so every once in a while those come out. And then this year they also have like a new release for 2026. They have a Lego shuttle van, which is, or a delivery van, kind of like these Amazon delivery vans you see all over the place now, at least in my part of the US. You see tons of these Amazon delivery vans. And they have a Lego version of that one. It's a Lego delivery van, but it's like a companion vehicle, almost like a companion version of the yellow Lego truck, and just a smaller set. That's actually one when I did that Lego store video that I just released over the weekend. That was actually one of the sets I was considering. What could be a fun set to get that wouldn't be too pricey? And then I ended up getting the Bricksburg taxi, but that was one I was considering. So in this shuttle here, you have a black connection piece there, or clip, and I just built whatever this is. Like, well, this part is gonna clip into that, and I don't know, maybe it'll be flexible in some kind of design element here. We'll see. Okay, maybe not. I think it's supposed to just stay that way. All right, so we've got this. Maybe that adds to the dorsal wing. I don't know, but that's interesting. So yeah, if you are listening in the background, thanks for being here. Part 7 of this build in terms of live stream, 75314, the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, 969 pieces. I just finished bag 5. So 2 more bags left. There's 7 bags total in this set. Chris Vick says, or going to Walmart with McDonald's Insider, says Chris Vick. What are we talking about? I miss old school McDonald's restaurants. Oh, with the look in the playground. Yeah, those were the days. You know, fast food is not the same anymore. It's not, it's kind of different. It's not really that fast. It's not that cheap. And, you know, honestly, it's not good for you. So there's a whole lot there to, I don't know. Let's see. Oh no, Tanner says something that he built, he put his heart and soul into that car. Sorry to hear that. Can redo it, says Alexandria. There you go. There's some encouragement for you there, Tanner. What about for girls, the Barbie dream car? Yeah, Chris Vick, you keep bringing up that theme, but there is no way Lego's going to do that. They have Lego friends. They have Lego friends. All right, so, okay, let's see this piece. Oh, wait a minute. I skipped something. I'm looking at instructions and I skipped. Glad I caught this now. I've been like, oh, that thing goes well into the interior of the shuttle. So in terms of playable features for this set, this shuttle, this will be interesting when it's finished. Kind of how big is this interior compartment to the shuttle? Can all the clones, all the Bad Batch guys fit in here? So somehow you got to build this tray or box that goes inside the pilot section in here. And I don't know if that's an interesting part of the build, but it is something that I almost skipped. So looks like it just slides in. And then what comes next? Then I put that. Oh, so this flap closes over it, I think. Ah, okay. So it's like a compartment inside. You can seal something, I guess. All right, there we go. Playable feature of some sort, maybe like a stowaway section. You know, you can hide stuff in there. I'm curious about that Bad Batch series on the animated shows, like, or the, you know, the cartoon itself. And if I was curious enough and we had Disney Plus, I'd have to watch. You know what? I could go on. I'm sure YouTube has some clips of it. Perhaps, maybe some clips of it will give me an idea. Should do that before the next live stream and just see what the actual story line is like, or how these characters are portrayed. Because the Clone Wars, obviously, were a good episode. All right, there we go. Bag 6 is kind of working on the interior of the shuttle here. And like I said before, this is one of the cool parts about this build is all the in-between stages. Just seeing the construction of the whole shuttle come together is something I appreciate, especially with the colors, kind of everything going to end up being blue, gray on the outside. But yeah, seeing the interior here get built up through and through was really cool. John Powell says, plus they are IPs that someone else owns. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those would be hard, Chris Vick, to do anything about. Mattel might build a Barbie dream car. Don't they have brick sets? I know that other companies, I don't know if it's Mattel, who makes like Matchbox or Hot Wheels. I've seen brick build sets made by them. I don't know if that's their own company or not. Like, who owns those like die-cast metal cars that you can get. Another toy from childhood that I remember fondly, having like those plastic like little suitcase or lunchbox sized cases, and then they had like trays, like ice cube type trays inside for the size of each car, and then you could put each car in its own little compartment, like an ice cube tray, and then put it in the case, and then you had the cars to travel with, which really meant just like keeping them in your house and not leaving them out on the floor all the time. But yeah, those were cool toys. And then you could buy little, or not little, you could buy some pretty cool sets with those, with track pieces and kind of, yeah, I don't know, plastic assembled flat track pieces that would use gravity and they could, you know, spin around. So that was a fun toy back in the day. Chris Vick says, slide it in and you almost have it finish for your next build. Yeah, Chris Vick, I still got 2 bags left, but yes, got a lot of like these little interior parts. So again, now it's kind of somewhat ambiguous as to what all this will be, because obviously the picture only shows you the exterior side of the shuttle. But like I said, there's a lot of detail in here. Okay, so I added this tail end here, and I really don't know what all, other than adding some more like panel design here. So again, as John Powell said the other day, trust the process. We'll see what comes out of this. This almost seems like a mini exhaust part that might stick out here in the end. We'll see. But yeah, nothing exactly to show off yet. I just added these back pieces here, those 2 small wing pieces, and the black back end looks like an exhaust piece on the back there, kind of. Let's see. Tanner says it was like 70 blocks by 25 wide, 30 blocks. This is Minecraft. I spent 5 months and completely did the interior. Gone overnight. It was so big it could be classified as a map. And that's before the racetrack that took 3 months. What a design, Tanner. Lego Dad says you can make your own Lego documentary. That would be interesting, Chris Vick. That would take some research. That's a fun idea. I would have to borrow, unfortunately, I would have to borrow like video clips from other shows or news stories to, you know, I know people do that all the time on YouTube. People like basically have whole channels based on them watching some other person's video and reacting to it, which I don't really like, but I do like the idea of a documentary. And you know, I could do enough narration and just using stock photos or just photos based off of what the Lego group has released publicly, and probably have a good sense of a story there. That's where you could utilize AI in the sense of kind of helping you create an outline or a script, and then from there working around it to, you know, make it your own. But that it would be a good way to kind of think of a documentary, kind of put your thoughts down and have them outlined for you, which would save some time. That's a fun idea, Chris Vick. I like that. I don't know. That would be definitely a project where, yeah, you'd have to do some research and everything, take some time on it. It'd be fun though. Actually, it'd be really fun. So yeah, your own documentary. Let's see. Alexander says to Tanner, maybe you could even improve on it and stuff and make it even better. There you go. Some encouragement there for Tanner from Alexandria. So yeah, in terms of Lego news also, let's see. Yesterday I was saying the new Lego sets that come out. Here's another example of the overpriced stuff for Star Wars. And I'm sure some people have seen this. I'm sure you guys know about this. But they had the battle pack, the 187th battle pack that came out last summer, was it? This set right here. Thankfully, I found it on sale, so I did not pay $45 for this. But yeah, so this set came out and overpriced. It is a cool looking battle pack. And you know, probably if this dropped down to $30 or $35, more people would buy it. But $30, $33, some weird number like that, since the one that came out before, same box size and pretty much same piece count, minifigure count, was 29 and is still on sale for about 23 on Amazon. But now they have this other one that's in that same price range, and it's this ATRT Attack. I don't know if I see, I don't know, I'll show it to you guys. Do you see $45 of value in this one? This one seems even less of a justification for the price. I don't know, you get one, it looks like, is that a snow trooper? Or I don't know what kind, he's got different armor on that tower gun. And then, yeah, a little ATRT kind of bill, looks like Grogu again. So is that the Mandalorian? Is that another Mandalorian minifig right there? So, yeah, so basically 2 minifigs and a little Grogu, because you can't have enough of those guys, and 2 builds. $45? Is that a special scene from the movie or one of the TV episodes? And I know they basically did The Legend of Boba Fett, which became another Mandalorian series, basically. So, I don't know. The new sets, though, the one I was raving about, the one I actually did like, I'm going to show this one off again, was the Douglas DC-3 Pan Am airliner. And that kind of led into some reminiscing of, you know, old airlines and planes back in the day. I've never been on a old-fashioned prop plane, but that would be super interesting, just to do the build. I think there'd be a lot of good detail on the interior of that. So I haven't really ever been interested in getting any Lego airplane set, you know, like passenger kind of plane build, kind of made for Lego City. That one looks like a fun build and obviously model piece, but it all comes down to how much more Lego to add to the collection and then spend money on. So we'll think about that. Chris Vick says, I was watching Pluto TV and oh my gosh, my childhood game show Supermarket Sweep came up. Oh, you know, I've never heard of that. You might, or maybe if you describe it. Alexandria knows. Supermarket Sweep. I don't know that one. Speaking of childhood and nostalgia, yeah. So yeah, Mattel, Matchbox cars, Mattel or Hot Wheels. I know they do have some brick set pieces or builds of their own released under their brand name, and I think they're definitely kind of like Mega Bloks looking builds. So I think compatible with Lego bricks if that ever became something that you needed to do for I don't know what, parting out pieces or whatever. But yeah, Tanner's got some new ideas. I got photos of it, but now I think I'm gonna do 11 cars, all with the WGB cars, 2 car racers, the same scale, 125 times the size of the actual car. Tanner, did you post a picture of what it used to be? If you have one, that'd be really interesting to see. Grocery store people going crazy. Oh, I think I remember that show. I don't know if, was that like in the 90s, Chris Vick? That semi sounds familiar. It must have been a cultural phenomenon, but I don't know that name. That does not sound familiar, but the way you describe it does. So that's kind of cool. All right, now Lego itself, new sets that have come out. I really like for 2026. Not much. I mean, there's some cool sets. The Ford Model T looks like a cool build. I'm not gonna ever buy it, or unless somebody gives it to me. But there's just, I don't know. I think the years prior, there's just sets that I would love to see last and not get retired so soon. The Lego Titanic is still on back order. That would be a fun build. There is that, I forget if it was a Porsche, the green Technic Porsche build. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, that was one set that seemed good. Tanner brought up the Lightning McQueen Speed Champions build. I think that's a fun set. definitely worth owning. I don't know if I'll get it right away. Kind of, there's no rush to get that set since it just came out, and it's not something I need to have or need to build right away, but I know it's been strongly endorsed by people, so that's kind of fun. And let me see here. I'm kind of more into just the fact that that UCS set idea I've had for a while. And Tommy Brick's mentioning the Venator. That might be on par with, well, I think it's not exactly, I think the Titanic's a little more expensive, but that Venator would definitely be a fun build. So Tommy, you're gonna have to, I know did you do a collab with Brick Together? I wanna say that you'll have to do a video or just a cool write-up, or maybe just a picture of the build, how that goes. So that just brings me to the fact that I've been wanting to do a UCS set build, but man, you know, with everything financially going on and the prices of things going on in the country, it just doesn't feel right to, and I've gotten a lot of sets already. It's not because I'm guilting anyone, but yeah, just to have a UCS set, but then pay for it right now just doesn't seem right. Having said all that, the Titanic, that would be such a cool build. And that's one I was definitely, when I saw it initially built at the Lego store, going, wow, that's one of those sets I'm thinking I would never be able to basically own a set like that. But I said that before when I had, or just before I got Ninjago City. I thought, I'll never get a Lego set that price. That's crazy. And then I got one. All right, so now I'm a little bit flustered here. Trying to see. There's something that it seems like it's flush on one side, and I want to trust the process, as John Powell says. But let me see here. Did I do everything right? And then I turn whatever this is, and oh, okay. This is where it says a 9+ set, but I had to look carefully. Why am I not getting what this picture's showing me here? So basically this thing cantilevers over the edge, and so that's why it looks uneven, but it's not. So I thought this whole section, all this level, goes on top of here, but it's not. It's just the edge, so that it cantilevers over like that, and then it is even. Voila. Okay. And this is the fun part. Trust the process. Okay, I got to make that a motto for these type of builds, especially if I do get some kind of UCS set. I can imagine there's a whole lot there that you just have to follow the instructions so closely that you're like, something doesn't seem right, but it's just a complex build. So yeah, then when I think about these UCS sets, I said, you know, for the last few months, like the UCS Millennium Falcon, that's like a priority on the getting a big Star Wars set. And then I'm thinking, that might not be the most Brick Therapy build experience. And I think John Powell also gave a cautionary tale of that UCS set in terms of the build and the paneling and the frustration of putting it together. If I got any set like that as a gift, I'd be stoked. I would totally enjoy it. But man, there's something to be said about the price range for Lego sets when it goes way over. Like the Rivendell set was like a pretty high threshold when we got that set, and you know, it's an awesome build. But that was like, when did I get that? Like 3 years ago now. And it's one of those sets where it's like, I haven't recovered from purchasing that psychologically. Like that's a pretty pricey build. An awesome build, to be sure, but pricey nonetheless. So I don't know. So much to think about, and if I did go that route again, the Titanic speaks to me so much. I love that set more and more the more I look at it and think about the build going on there. Chris Vick says they should make a Titanic with the iceberg Lego set. Oh, that would be, I don't know what that would be, Chris Vick. It's like a building of the tragedy part of it. That would be the hard part. I don't know how people would take that. It'd be interesting. Rat Studio is back. Hey, Rat Studio. John Powell says, yeah, but it doesn't hurt to go back and double check to make sure you are right. Then trust the process. There you go. Okay, I like that reassurance. John Powell. It's like, maybe I was right. Maybe I'm not seeing. So I did go back and I showed you guys, like, there's something in that section of, oh, this probably, now I'm looking at it. I'm building this part right here. I guess the cover, I don't know what you would call this, the wing cover connector of the engine, but you know, I don't know what the technical name is, but that looks to be what that is. Okay, so some panel cover that goes over the wing section. And again, just to see kind of how this set comes together, especially these set, there's so many details in this build. Like, the designer for this set must have had so much fun. Like, ooh, what other piece can I incorporate in this build? I want to build a shuttle. I like the Imperial shuttle look. And what can I do to, I should look, we do have the small play scale version of the Imperial shuttle. What can I do to make this build similar, but also unique on its own? And then, yeah, add this angular section. Oh, so that is pretty clever. So like these bottom panels that are like connected by pins so that you kind of have an angular part on the interior actually make it go down like that, but then level, as you can see those gray pieces that are all looped. So that part stays level, but then the panel is at an angle. That's kind of cool. I don't know if I described that so you understand, but you'll see here in a minute what it looks like. And then it fits on perfectly. Look at that. Nice, smooth cover to where the wing connects and you can't tell. Hides all the stud pieces. Man, that's really nice. And wouldn't notice it. When you build it, you sure appreciate it. It's fun to show off. Tanner says, I have photos of the original project I will post, but now it's not finished one as I was taking photos weekly. Ah, okay. Rat Studios, yeah, getting the hello back. I got the venture for a trade for 20 minifigs. Oh, awesome. Tommy doing some bargaining with someone else. So the venture, what is that one? And you know what, as I'm talking about this Titanic. What is it going for on BrickLink? It's on back order though, so it's probably pretty much the same price as buying it from Lego directly. Let's see here. What would the Titanic price be if you bought it on BrickLink used? I'm sure on Facebook Marketplace you might find it there. Oh, okay, it's about a $200. Let's see, items for sale. Looks like it's about a $200 discount, if not more. Let me see, condition, complete. Who wants an incomplete Titanic? When they say incomplete, to me, that just means if it had minifigures, then you just don't get that part. But there are no minifigures with this. Okay, well, the Titanic used on BrickLink, if you live in Hong Kong, it's a pretty fairly good sized discount, but I don't know if with tariffs and shipping and trusting a seller way over on the other side of the world is the best way to go. Though the most discounted, I won't say cheap, complete set in the US is $531 versus buying this set through Lego and $679. So about what was that? $680. So $150. $150 less. I don't know, if you got that, if you get these giant sets when there's double insider points days, that's a good deal. So don't forget to leave a like. Maybe we can get to 10 likes and have ourselves double-digit likes. That's always fun. And I know this is me just kind of going through the build, and the discussion is more about certain parts of the build and maybe not any new topics, other than the fact that Tommy's getting an awesome UCS set coming his way. I would love to get that Titanic. The more and more I talk about it versus a Star Wars UCS set. I bet if I had either one though, and I had that box in front of me and I start opening it and building, that would be such a joy, no doubt. And even more so, spending money that is not, no swiping the card, so to speak, as someone likes to say, or spending the money because you have that disposable income. In today's economy, that's impressive. I'm curious if Lego sales are going to falter a little bit because they are charging higher prices for everything. And I don't know how much disposable income is out there for people to just keep buying all these high-end Lego sets. And I'm just it's kind of nice to feel, I talk about one set and it's a big set, but it's kind of nice to feel kind of like, I'm in a good, satisfied moment. Haven't really ordered anything or thinking about anything. Not like anticipating that. As the first few years of owning Lego, I was like, oh, there's so much coming out. And I was constantly thinking what to add to the collection next, versus now it's kind of toned down. To a non-Lego collector, probably is like, what are you talking about? But yeah, for a Lego collector, it's definitely slowed down. So as I look at sets, just appreciating them, more window shopping than anything, basically. Pirate says, guess who? Stopping by to say hello and good night. Have to work again till 2 and tomorrow afternoon, 8 hours. Pirate the working man. Pirate will call you the working man. Thanks for checking in, Pirate. Hope you are doing well. And hopefully you get back to that build you were working on. I think you said it was the Big Ben, off-brand. John Powell says, yeah, as often as you mention the Titanic, I think that's probably the best way to go. Yeah, I think it's unique. I don't know, especially if it's getting retired, I don't know if Lego would ever do a set like that again. The Eiffel Tower is a unique build. That one does not interest me as much. And it's just, maybe because it's a vertical tower, it just seems like that one to put on display would basically have to stand on the floor and be like a coat rack. There would have to be some other functional purpose to having a giant Eiffel Tower Lego model. And, almost the same piece count as the Titanic. Interesting. The Eiffel Tower, I forget, there's some symbolism behind it being 10,001 pieces. I don't know if it had something to do with the actual Monsieur Eiffel and having that 10,001 piece. But I think there's some, maybe I have to look online, go through AI and see why it has that piece count. I figure there's something about that. And then the Titanic is 9,090 pieces. Another interesting piece count. I think there is an Easter egg inside the ship itself, the ship build, and it might have had some kind of tribute to one of the Lego designers. Actually, the guy who's on YouTube, it might be a tribute to him, who used to be a Lego designer. But yeah, the ship is amazing looking. A lot of the social media posts I see from like grown-up collectors of Lego, the Titanic comes up often. Like, it's a popular build, a popular set. Seen the Millennium Falcon a few times also, and I don't know anyone, you guys who have some of these sets, but I don't know anyone around me locally that has one of those builds. But what would you be more impressed by? Star Wars? I guess Star Wars would probably win over. I should do that. I'll do a little poll, a post. What would be more impressive, a Titanic set in a collection or a Star Wars UCS set? No doubt the Star Wars fans will win out. But I would be curious to see how many votes the Titanic gets. And like a build that size, almost 10,000 pieces. And that set's retiring if there's some other plan in the works that Lego's going to release to match that. So, not match the Titanic. Like a historic build. The Titanic used to be, well, it's out here on the West Coast. Or not the Titanic, totally different ship. What am I thinking? The Titanic's at the bottom of the ocean. So sad. I was thinking of the Queen Mary, the original Queen Mary, the Queen Mary 1. But not that ship. Although it kind of has that same ocean liner look as the Titanic. I think it might be about the same time period. But that's a retired ship parked out here on the West Coast. But they used to have a plane right next to it. I think it's in Washington State now. So Tommy Bricks, you might speak to this. The Spruce Goose. I think it's a plane made completely out of wood material or wood frames and everything. And that's a giant plane, I think. That would be a pretty fun Lego set if they came out with that. Hey, little old Bricks. Seems like more and more people are going non-Lego because of official Lego prices. Yes, although, the Lumi Bricks prices, they're lower, but they're still pretty expensive. So Pirate says, I'm doing fantastic. Would you do that Rio brick of the Big Ben like the one I am working on? You know what, Pirate, if you post a picture of that on our community page, that would be fun to see. I guess if it's off-brand, then it's probably like did Lego must have done a Big Ben architecture build or something. That sounds familiar. Tommy Briggs says, I'm a Star Wars fan, yes, but I would have to vote on the Titanic. Let's go. And Tommy, this is coming from someone who's getting the UCS Venator incoming soon. The Titanic looks like a museum piece. I agree. I was talking to someone who said they have that set and they actually have it in their house, like kind of like just a backdrop on they have basically a wet bar in their house. So they have like kind of a nice looking setup like you would see in, probably one of those older houses, but probably some wood paneling and everything, some fine wine bottles and like nice plated glass and everything. And they have the Titanic on the counter as a decorative piece. So just a very stylistic looking set with a sad history, of course. That's funny though. I was thinking like, oh yeah, it's parked over here in the West. Oh wait, no, that's the Queen Mary. The Titanic is not in existence anymore. At least not the way it was intended. But, oh yeah, Tommy, you know about the Spruce Goose is constructed completely out of wood and paper, fiber skin. Yeah, that used to be down here. It used to be right next to the Queen Mary. You could go see both. But I think they moved it up to Washington State. I'm not sure where. It's a once-in-a-lifetime build, says Alexandria. There we go. Largest seaplane ever built. That's what it was. That's why it was out here next to the Queen Mary. Oh, it's not even in the West Coast anymore. Tommy says it's in Washington, D.C. at the National Museum. So is it at the Air and Space Museum? That would be interesting. Chris Vick says he'll be right back. Tanner says, so on another page, I got my dream job. Very cool, Tanner. Oh yeah, what is it? So yeah, the Spruce Goose, that would be I think, that would be a cool Lego build. And I'll have to look that up. I don't remember. Actually, I don't think I ever knew. When, what era is that from? Is that from the 1920s or 30s maybe? No, 1920, oh, maybe. 1930s, 1920s. But I don't think it was flown more than once, really. I think it was more of an attempt. It was such a large airplane, but I don't think it really flew. It had like a maiden flight. I don't even know if it went very far. There's something about it that was like, oh, it's an impressive plane. It's huge. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, well, anyways, in that theme or in that genre, that era of builds and architecture would be amazing. And I know we talked about what was to be some other fun idea sets. And I don't know what will the Lego group to do, if they have it in their mind at all, to kind of come up with an equivalent of that build. But yeah, the Spruce Goose seems like that'd be kind of a fun one to do. Or another ocean liner, I don't know. Maybe they'll do another one. The Titanic's been out as a Lego set for, I think, since what, 2021 or so, or 2020? When was that released? When was that released? Does it say it on BrickLink? It must. Released 2021. There we go. 9,090 parts. Let's see, 58.5 by 47 by 38 centimeters. 3 books. Oh, I like it. Just looking at the box art, man. I don't know. That would be, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You saw this thing? I think it has a US flag and a British flag that comes with a set. You saw this thing ready to be built, just sitting there waiting for you. If you're a Lego collector, you know what I mean. You're gonna be like, yep, that's on my to-do list, man. That one would be amazing. I don't know. That would be a build I would probably just build, not live stream, because that would be something I just want to have quietly to myself. I don't know, like you're indulging on like a full gallon of ice cream or something. R&B Collect 4. Is this your other account? Hey y'all, sorry. Google account was hacked, but fixed it, changed my YouTube tag. R&B Collect. R&B is back. Is it okay to post my Marvel collection on the community tab on the channel? I didn't think I was allowed to, because this is a Lego channel. R&B, feel free to post pictures. It's the community page, so it's fun. Other people have posted like other projects they've worked on, whether it's art, drawings, or anything. But Marvel's related to Lego. I mean, there are Marvel sets. It'd be fun to see what you're talking about. Go for it. Tanner says, I know, right? We're gonna work at Castro Raceway in my city. Let's go, Tanner. That sounds like something right up your alley, I would say. Excuse me, it's at McMinnville, Oregon National Museum, the Spruce Goose. Oh, so it's not in Washington State, but in Oregon. McMinnville, oh my gosh. I've driven once up to the Pacific Northwest. It's a beautiful drive, but those road trips are long. It would be fun to, I don't know if the Spruce Goose is worth the drive itself, but that would be fun to see that airplane. I guess you've more if you're like a airplane enthusiast, but I'm pretty sure that thing didn't have much of a flight history to it. I don't think it lasted long in the air as was intended, from what I remember, the history of it. So yeah, I don't know. Something along those lines though. If Lego's gonna retire the Titanic set, they've got to do another kind of cool, historic, famous structure build. Whether it's the Eiffel Tower's a good one. They did that. It sounds like they've done Big Ben in the past. But something like from the last century. It doesn't have to be super old. What could that be? Or I don't know if they did. Of course, they're doing ancient structures too. They got the Pyramid of Giza, but something more like 20th century. They can't do anything military or war related, because there'd be some pretty amazing World War II era builds, airplanes or aircraft carriers. Those would be some amazing looking Lego builds, but those are out, unfortunately. But understand the reasoning behind that. Oh gosh, what could they do? Something along the lines of like a well-made or just iconic design. I guess I can't think of. There's got to be something on the large scale size of things. So that's why the Spruce Goose came to mind. But yeah, maybe that's not. Oops. One more piece here to make this wing panel look even better. And let's see, what did I do? I feel like Oh yeah, gotta put one more gray piece in there. As I build this bad batch shuttle, which is looking so sweet. And I got the other side here. Symmetry we got going on here now. This just goes together so nicely. Love that. It's looking really fresh and smooth. That looks good. John Powell says, curiosity got me and had to look up the Spruce Goose. It was 1947. Oh, that's a lot. I mean, it's a long time ago, but that's a lot more recent than I thought. Howard Hughes built it and flew it once. There it is. So it was Howard Hughes. That makes sense. Who would have the gumption to do something like that? So yeah, Howard Hughes flew it once. And I don't think, was it like 15 minutes? It wasn't a long, or maybe not even that. Maybe it was 15 seconds. It was like a really short flight, I think. So yeah, time with Max. Sorry, just saw you sign in right there. Well, it's late, so he's probably asleep. He had a soccer practice today, and so we'll get him on here again, time with Max, as we get closer to some vacation time for his spring break. So yeah, stay tuned. He'll pop in every once in a while. He popped in last week when I was talking about his clone army build. So yes, that would be fun to have him back on though on the live stream. Let's see. Tommy says, November 2nd, 1947, the Spruce Goose, better known as the Hercules 4, flew 1 mile. There it is, 60 feet above the water. See, Lego could do a series on these, the Titanic, the maiden voyages of these, what would the word be? Oh my gosh, Titan. Yeah, Titan. Titan type structures, man-made structures, the Titanic, Spruce Goose. All about the look and the design and not the success, unfortunately. But I think that would be a cool build. I bet most people don't even know about that airplane. But I remember it as hearing about it as a kid. Yeah, so many cool sets out there for people. It's true, Alexandria. I'm just thinking in the realm of those type of structures, the Eiffel Tower, the Titanic, something a little modern, but something also to take the place of that kind of early 20th century genre of things. And I can't think of another one, but yeah, that's why I mentioned that. The seaplane, it was only flew 60 feet above water for 1 mile. So I wonder how long that took. That definitely probably wasn't 15 minutes, maybe a few minutes. Little Brick says, guess what? I had someone, non-Lego, contact me about manufacturing the version of Mater from Cars. Very cool, Little Bricks. Your version, I saw you post a picture of it. That sounds cool. I'd pay hundreds for that, says Tanner. So you got Tanner as your first customer, Little Bricks. R&B says, by the way, talking on the Lego Titanic, my wife bought it when it came out, and it's been in our backlog ever since then. The box has dust. Oh, you got to build that one. R&B, that's one I've been kind of thinking about and obviously fantasizing about having that build. So, although like I just showed a picture of the box, actually, I'm like, oh, just seeing that there on your table waiting for you, maybe that's enough just to enjoy for a little while. It's like a good meal. You don't want it to, I don't know, you don't want it to come to a completion just yet. So I could see why it's in your backlog. There was the Roman Colosseum. That was a build that came out maybe 2019 or so. That one lasted a little while. That was a pretty impressive looking build. And that would kind of be up there in that big structure, big architecture build, I guess. I don't know. What would that be? Ooh, that came together nicely, like that. Just working on some more panel pieces here on this shuttle. I can't really describe what it is other than more plates and reverse slope pieces. Trying to one hand connect these, it's not gonna work. All right, so. And then trying to figure out what could Lego do next. So I don't know what you would call this, but another added part to the back of the shuttle. to, I don't know, just make it look even more slick. There we go. Lots of Lego snaps in there. So that part right there. And ooh, we get some afterburner look now. Some of that, whatever that is, that's some fusion power for the jet piece look to the shuttle. This is looking so good, looking so slick. There we go, like that. Like kind of like what the Millennium Falcon has on the back as well. Whatever that is, it's like this jet propulsion, but it doesn't. You can stand right behind it apparently as you watch these Lego videos and go, okay, that's how that works. Very cool. I think. Okay, it does overlap that. Oh wait, now there's something here that's off. Whoops. I must need another layer. Okay. Do I have? I do. That's why that didn't seem right. Okay. Again, one little extra piece you missed out, oh, forget about, but thankfully it's been forgiving this build to not have to take apart and reconstruct. So that looks good there. All right. Whoops. And, oh, so close. All right, 2 sticker pieces. And we had got some, I don't know, so this be blast shields or something like that. I don't know, do I want to put the sticker on? It doesn't really add much to it. I think I'll just leave it because there's 4 of them and it just look cool. I'll see how it looks without the sticker first. So like these Star Wars pieces, I don't even know what you call these, man. It's kind of like to protect the, or not protect, but it's just the engine, the back of the engine here, or the jets, I guess, to control propulsion maybe in some way, although it's all science fiction, so however you want to call it. There we go. There's bag 6. More design of making the shuttle look even more, just more smooth and sweet. More like a sports car for Star Wars ships. So yeah, very cool. Let's see, R&Bs. Yeah, they have the Titanic. John Pell says, yeah, I remembered Howard Hughes flew it just to prove it would fly. Totally sounds like a Howard Hughes kind of thing. It's about to retire, so you might want to hold back and see how much it appreciates. Ah, Alexander's saying, yeah, if you don't have the set opened yet. The Titanic, the Bismarck, the Titanic, Bismarck, the Pennsylvania, the Enterprise. Says Tommy Bricks, some of the Titans that we've had. I forgot the Yamamoto. So are those all, I have to look those up. So the Enterprise meaning the Star Trek Enterprise ship, or like real Enterprise, like battleship or aircraft carrier, right? There is an aircraft carrier. I forgot the Yamamoto, says Tommy Bricks. John Powell says, yeah, Tommy, all of those would be incredible builds. Very cool. All right, well, Tanner, congratulations. Okay, I'm gonna sign off, but yeah, thanks guys. We did come up with a new topic that was fun, worthy of note. What are some builds of the last century that would be on that Titanic scale, titans of design, the real ships? Yes. All right, guys, thanks for being here, and have a good Wednesday going into Thursday. Looking to live stream again soon. Thanks for all the likes.